You book a flight and see what looks like a great deal, but in 2025, that ticket price is just the beginning. Airlines are making billions off hidden fees that most travelers don't even realize exist until it's too late. Seniors are especially vulnerable because they still expect all-inclusive tickets like the old days. Now, you'll be paying for seats, bags, even paper boarding passes. After speaking with travel insiders, airline staff, and consumer advocates, we uncovered the sneakiest fees airlines don't want you to know. And trust me, number 3 is one of the most frustrating. Let's jump in. 1. Seat selection fees disguised as comfort. Once, you could choose your seat, aisle, window, or middle, at no cost. In 2025, airlines have rebranded those same seats as preferred or comfort, charging anywhere from $25 to $100 just to avoid the middle. Nothing about the seat itself has changed. It's the same cramped row, only with a new price tag. Airlines know travelers will pay, especially families who don't want to be split up. One retiree flying from Miami thought she'd booked a $220 flight with her husband. At checkout, she was hit with an additional $65 per leg to sit together. Declining meant random assignment, and they ended up 10 rows apart. The smart move is to check in exactly when the 24-hour window opens, which increases your odds of sitting together for free. Solo flyers can usually skip the fee since middle seats tend to be filled last. But if you thought paying to sit next to your spouse was unfair, wait until you see how airlines now charge for bags that used to be included. 2. Personal item shrink fees. You probably know the rule. One personal item fits under the seat, one carry-on in the bin. The trick in 2025 is that airlines quietly shrank the personal item dimensions by a couple of inches. That bag you used last year suddenly doesn't qualify anymore, and at the gate it gets reclassified as a carry-on with a $40 to $75 price tag. Passengers often don't realize until it's too late. One retiree in Dallas was stopped at boarding because her underseat roller was an inch too tall. She was forced to pay $50 on the spot, even though it slid perfectly under the seat once she was on board. If you want to avoid the shrink trap, stick to a backpack or small tote that's guaranteed to meet the posted measurements. Double-check the dimensions on the airline's website before packing. It's a subtle change that's costing travelers millions. And if that feels sneaky, the next fee is even pettier. Airlines are now charging people to print boarding passes. 3. Boarding priority charges. Airlines have found a way to charge you for simply standing in line. In 2025, priority boarding has been sliced into multiple tiers: basic, early, group add-on, and most people don't realize they're paying for what used to be free. Families with kids or seniors who move slower often feel pressured to pay just to avoid the crowd, even though their seats are already assigned. One retiree in Denver booked economy tickets for her family of 4. When she got to check in, she saw an extra $30 charge per passenger for group boarding. Declining meant her 8-year-old was placed in Group 8, boarding nearly last. She panicked and paid $120 just so they could get on together. The truth? Your seat is guaranteed whether you board first or last. Overhead bin space is the only real difference, and gate agents often accommodate families with young kids anyway. Unless you're carrying bulky items, skip the boarding fee. It's pure profit padding. But if you thought paying just to step on the plane was sneaky, the next fee stings even worse. Charges for bags that never leave the hold. 4. Carry-on bag gate fees. Remember when carry-ons were included in the ticket? In 2025, budget airlines have turned them into a goldmine. Even if your bag meets published dimensions, gate agents can force you to check it for a surprise fee, often $60 to $100, claiming limited overhead space. Travelers report this trick most on fully booked flights. One senior flying out of Chicago had her perfectly sized roller bag flagged at the gate, even though it fit in the sizer. With no time to argue, she was charged $75 before boarding. Once inside, she noticed half the bins were still empty. The strategy is deliberate. Airlines use gate bag fees as last-minute revenue grabs, knowing most passengers won't fight back under time pressure. If you want to dodge it, check in early, board promptly, and use soft-sided bags that squeeze into tight spots. Those who wait until the last group often pay the price. And if hidden bag fees feel unfair, the next one is even more subtle. It shows up as a simple click during booking. 5. Convenience fees for online booking. Booking online seems like the obvious choice, but in 2025, some airlines quietly add a convenience or technology use fee for using their own website or mobile app. The charge ranges from $5 to $25 per ticket, buried deep in the checkout summary. A couple in Miami thought they scored $99 fares to Puerto Rico. After clicking through the booking screens, they were shocked to see the total jump by $40 in service recovery fees. Calling customer service revealed the truth. It was a mandatory online booking surcharge. Ironically, booking at the counter, once discouraged, would have been cheaper. These fees are designed to look small enough that you won't contest them, especially when stacked with taxes and airport charges. The trick is in presentation. By the time you notice, you've already entered your payment details. The workaround? Price out your ticket across multiple channels, including third-party travel sites and even old-fashioned phone bookings. It's tedious, but sometimes the savings are real. And if that feels sneaky, the next hidden fee plays on your desire for just a little extra legroom. 6. Seat selection fees. Booking a ticket doesn't mean booking a seat anymore. In 2025, many airlines treat seat assignments as a luxury add-on. Want to sit with your spouse? That's an extra $20 to $50 per passenger. Want an aisle seat to stretch your knees? Pay up. Even middle seats sometimes carry a fee, disguised as pre-selection. A grandmother flying from Dallas with her 2 grandkids thought her $200 tickets included sitting together. At check-in, she discovered the airline scattered them across different rows unless she paid an extra $120 to guarantee seating. She had no choice. She wasn't letting her grandkids sit alone. This isn't an accident. Airlines intentionally hold back a chunk of desirable seats, pushing passengers to pay to avoid separation. The trick plays on fear of being split up. In reality, families with children under 13 are usually seated together by law, but many don't know their rights and panic into paying. Next time, book early and confirm your seats during purchase. Sometimes it's hidden under standard seat. But if you thought paying to sit down was bad, the next fee makes you cough up cash just to pay. 7. Credit card processing surcharges. Paying for a ticket with your credit card feels normal, but in 2025, more airlines quietly tack on processing surcharges of 1 to 3%. It doesn't sound like much until you multiply it across a family trip. Suddenly, $30 or $40 disappears just for using the same plastic you use everywhere else. One retiree in Boston booked 2 economy tickets to Europe. The fare was advertised as $850 each. But her final bill showed an extra $54 labeled payment handling. When she asked customer service, they explained it was a bank recovery fee. It wasn't optional unless she wanted to drive to the airport and pay cash at the counter. Airlines argue they're passing along transaction costs, but really, it's another way to pad margins. The worst part? The surcharge is often buried in fine print until the very last checkout screen. To avoid it, some travelers use debit cards or gift cards tied to airline loyalty programs. But even those are starting to carry reload fees. And if swiping your card costs extra, the next fee is even more insulting. You're charged for simply printing paper. 8. Boarding pass printing charges. Remember when gate agents happily printed your boarding pass? In 2025, some airlines charge up to $25 for this service. The logic is that everything can be done digitally, so if you need paper, you'll pay for the convenience. One senior couple in Orlando didn't own smartphones. They arrived at the airport expecting to check in at the counter. Instead, they were told each printed boarding pass would cost them $20. With 2 legs on their trip, that meant $80 gone before they even cleared security. The airline's goal is obvious: force passengers into using their apps, which then bombard them with paid add-ons and ads. Those who can't, or don't want to, navigate mobile tech are treated like walking ATMs. The way around it? Print passes at home or use kiosks before check-in closes. But even kiosks are starting to limit free prints per passenger. If being charged for paper feels outrageous, the next fee targets something even more basic: the air you breathe on board. 9. Air circulation comfort fees. This one shocks a lot of travelers. In 2025, some budget airlines have started charging for enhanced air circulation or comfort air zones. Essentially, you're paying extra to sit in rows where airflow is slightly stronger, marketed as healthier cabin air. A traveler in Phoenix said her low-cost airline offered a $15 wellness upgrade during seat selection. Curious, she clicked, only to realize it simply placed her seat near overhead vents. Another retiree said her airline advertised air purification seats, which were just rows closer to the front where circulation naturally feels better. It's pure, psychological marketing. Everyone breathes the same recycled air, but the label of enhanced comfort lures worried passengers into spending. It preys on post-pandemic anxieties about germs in enclosed spaces. The truth? Cabin air already cycles through HEPA filters dozens of times an hour. Paying more doesn't make it any cleaner. And if charging for air feels extreme, the next hidden fee is just as absurd. It comes when you dare to pay for your bags online. 10. Early bag check fees. Checking your luggage online before arriving at the airport seems smart. You'd think it saves time and money. In 2025, some airlines flipped the script. They now charge extra for early bag check, disguising it as a premium convenience. A retiree in Houston checked her suitcase online 24 hours before departure. She was shocked to see a $12 advance handling fee added at checkout. When she asked why, the airline claimed it covered system priority, but when she waited to check the same bag at the counter on her return flight, the fee wasn't there. The tactic is deliberate. By dangling skip-the-line perks, airlines charge passengers for a service that doesn't really exist. Your bag still rides in the same hold. The workaround? Compare the cost of checking online versus in person. Sometimes old-fashioned counter service is cheaper. But if bags are a battlefield, the next fee digs even deeper. It's tied to how much fuel the plane burns. 11. Carbon offset add-ons. Airlines now market themselves as eco-friendly, but at your expense. In 2025, many automatically add a carbon offset fee during booking. Passengers pay $5 to $20 per ticket for the airline's PR campaign. One senior couple flying from Seattle to London noticed a $36 sustainability charge. Thinking it was mandatory, they paid without question. Later, a travel blog revealed the airline's offset program was little more than planting saplings in bulk. Meanwhile, the couple's neighbors booked the same route, unchecked the box, and saved the fee entirely. The trick is making passengers feel guilty if they don't pay. Airlines bury the opt-out in tiny text, counting on rushed travelers to click through. Seasoned flyers know to uncheck anything labeled voluntary contribution. It's not that sustainability isn't important, it's that you shouldn't be forced to bankroll airline greenwashing. If extra trees come at a cost, wait until you see the next add-on, where they charge you for your own sense of calm. 12. Peace of mind. Rebooking guarantees. Travel plans change, but in 2025, airlines found a way to monetize your uncertainty. Many now charge a peace of mind guarantee fee during checkout. It promises flexible changes for $25 to $75 per ticket. But here's the catch: you still pay fare differences later. A retiree in Denver bought this add-on, thinking it meant one free change. When her granddaughter's graduation date shifted, she tried to rebook. The airline waived the change fee but charged $280 more for the new flight's fare. Her peace of mind didn't save her a dime. Airlines dangle this as a security blanket, knowing seniors worry about health, weather, or family emergencies. The fine print reveals it's little more than a waiver of fees that rarely apply anymore. Most U.S. carriers scrapped standard change fees years ago. The smarter move? Skip the guarantee, and if plans shift, monitor fares and rebook strategically. But if psychological tricks sting, the next hidden charge is even pettier, where they monetize your very first impression. 13. Customer service phone fees. Need help from a live agent? In 2025, that'll cost you. Airlines increasingly tack on phone support fees of $20 to $40 when you book or modify tickets over the phone. The justification? Encouraging everyone to use apps and websites instead. One passenger in Miami, uncomfortable with online booking, called an airline to reserve 2 tickets. Only after the transaction did she notice a $30 call center surcharge in her receipt. When she complained, the rep said, "It's standard now for offline service." This fee exploits seniors most, since many prefer speaking to humans over navigating glitchy apps. Ironically, airlines are cutting staff at counters, pushing customers to digital platforms, then charging extra when digital tools fall short. The workaround? Use the airline's online chat, which is often free, or book through trusted travel agents who don't pass along these surcharges. Still, charging for human help feels insulting, yet the next fee goes further, charging for something you don't even get to keep. 14. Temporary carry-on storage fees. Space in overhead bins is tight, and airlines know it. In 2025, some budget carriers now sell temporary storage rights for carry-ons, basically renting you space overhead for $20 to $40. If you don't pay, your bag might be gate-checked even if you followed size rules. A traveler in Chicago boarded with a perfectly regulation-sized bag. At the gate, an attendant announced, "Overhead bins are reserved for priority passengers." His bag was tagged for gate check unless he paid a $25 storage fee on the spot. Outrageous, but he had valuables inside and couldn't risk it. This scheme lets airlines resell the same space twice, once in the fare, again as a premium. And since overhead bins are first come, first served, the system preys on anxious flyers. The only defense? Board early by purchasing priority, or keep essentials in a personal item under the seat. But if charging for space above your head seems shameless, the next fee squeezes even harder: water. 15. Bottled water charges. Once upon a time, water was free. In 2025, some low-cost airlines have stopped offering complimentary bottled water, replacing it with $5 to $7 sales mid-flight. They argue tap water is still available upon request, but passengers report it tastes metallic and isn't always safe. One senior flying from Phoenix fainted from dehydration after refusing to pay for water on a long-haul flight. The crew eventually gave her a cup of lukewarm tap water, but she later discovered the airline had quietly removed bottled water from free items to cut costs. Airlines defend the move by claiming environmental responsibility, pointing to reduced plastic waste. In truth, they're forcing passengers to pay for hydration. Even sealed bottles purchased post-security are confiscated during random gate screenings on some international flights, leaving flyers with no choice but to buy on board. Veteran travelers bring empty reusable bottles to refill at the airport before boarding. But if water is no longer free, the next hidden fee is even harder to swallow. It's disguised as entertainment. Bonus fee, seat, reclining access charges. One of the strangest tricks airlines rolled out in 2025 is charging passengers for the right to recline their seat. On some carriers, the basic economy ticket locks your seat upright, and you have to pay $15 to $25 just to unlock the recline function. Airlines market it as a comfort upgrade, but seasoned travelers know it's simply a way of monetizing what used to be standard. A business traveler flying from Dallas to Seattle said she didn't realize her seat wouldn't recline until she was on board. When she asked the crew why, she was told she hadn't paid the recline access fee. The worst part, her neighbor had paid for it, so his seat leaned back into her space while she was stuck upright for 3 hours. The trick works because passengers often don't notice the add-on during booking. Buried in fine print, it looks like just another optional upgrade. The truth, it's one more way airlines squeeze revenue out of passengers without adding real value. Flying in 2025 isn't just about ticket prices, it's about navigating a minefield of hidden fees. Airlines quietly slip into the process. From seat selection tricks to bottled water charges, every stage of the journey has a potential pitfall that catches unprepared travelers. The good news? Once you know their playbook, you can dodge most of these costs and keep your budget intact. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these hidden fees caught you off guard? Have you ever been surprised at the airport with a charge you didn't expect? Drop your story in the comments. Your tip might save another traveler from falling into the same trap. Safe travels, and remember, when you fly smarter, you spend less.